Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to ARA SIG93 March webinar, Navigating Research, Teaching, Service as Early Career Scholars. My name is Singyang Baek, and I'm an assistant professor in PE department at SUNY Cortland, and I'm honored to organize this important discussion where we will explore opportunities and challenges that come from navigating research, teaching, and service as early career scholars. So today, we are fortunate to have 4 amazing panelists who will share unique insights and experiences as early career scholars. Dr. Xiaolu Liu from Georgia State University will cover research. Dr. Yanhua Shen from University of Virginia College at Wise will cover research as well. Dr. Lauren Bean from SUNY Brockport will cover teaching. And Dr. Obi Atkinson from SUNY Cortland will cover service. And as far as the format goes, we will have an opening discussion, and then each panelist will have about 80 minutes to cover their part. And then we will have a closing discussion and a Q&A session at the end. And before we go into our opening discussion, I would like them to have an opportunity to briefly introduce themselves. So whoever is ready, please go ahead.
I can go first. Hello, everybody. Good to see you at this wonderful, Friday afternoon. My name is Xiaolu Liu. I am currently an assistant professor of health and physical education at Georgia State University. I joined this position in 2022, and this is my 4th year here. I just finished my 3rd year review towards my tenure. I got my PhD from UT Austin in 2020 in physical education, teacher education. And at that time, after graduate, during COVID, I got my first position at Eastern New Mexico University, and that's teaching position. So I had a little bit shift from teaching to research. And so I'm happy to be here, and I'm honored to be invited to be the panelist for this webinar. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can go second. So hi, good afternoon, everyone. Happy Friday. My name is Yanhua Shen. I'm working as assistant professor in exercise science at the University of Virginia's College at Wise. So we are like a small liberal arts core teaching college in the southwest part of the Virginia. And this is my 3rd year as well. I'm now in my pre-tenure review, and I got my PhD from the University of North Carolina at Greensboro. Yeah, I'm really, glad that to have this opportunity to share my experience as a early career scholar.
Thank you.
I can go next. Hi, everyone. My name is Lauren Bean. I am currently an assistant professor in physical education, teacher education at SUNY Brockport, and this is my 2nd year. I received my PhD in teaching and administration from Springfield College in May of 2023. And previous to that, I was a physical education teacher in the public schools in Cambridge, Massachusetts for about 6 years.
Thank you.
All right, I'll round us off. I'm Obi Atkinson, originally from Canada, 2nd year now at SUNY Cortland. Did my PhD at the Ohio State University in sport pedagogy. And so happy to be here. Thank you for the opportunity, and glad to see some familiar faces joining us.
Thank you, everyone. Dr. Shen, if you can move on to the next slide. Thank you. So before we go into each part, I would like to open this session with, 2 opening questions. So what was your overall experience of transitioning from a PhD student to a faculty member? What did it look like? How did you adapt to the new responsibilities and expectations as a faculty member? So if you can briefly share your experiences, that'd be great.
Want me to go first? I can go first.
It's ready. You can go first.
Yeah, this is very exciting. And I would say, during that time when I just graduate, so all the experience, I feel like the dream right now. It's amazing, definitely. But just right after graduation, I would say I had a little bit challenging maybe, I would say regarding the identity part, shifting from, as a PhD student to a faculty member, you have a lot of independence, in terms of your research, teaching, and service. You have to find your own route, to meet all the expectations. And so, when you're a PhD student, you have advisors to guide you through everything. Like you can go this, you can go that, but now you are all on your own. Although you have all the, support from the department, your colleague, but overall you're all on your own. So a little bit nervous, I would say at that time point, but you feel like, oh yeah, finally I'm kind of like, I'm in my position right now. I'm all on myself. So I can make my own decision to what I, regarding what I need. And definitely it's amazing, but, challenging, struggling a little bit at the beginning, but overall after, at least one semester, you will feel like, yeah, I adapt to the new position very well. So that's my overall experience.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, I can go second. So I still remember, the moment when I received the job offer. I was skating with my daughter and, at the ski resort in the West Virginia, and both of us were really excited. And now I'm actually in my third year, and in general, my experience transition from PhD student to a faculty member is pretty positive and smooth. One of the things I want to highlight, is the mentor program in our college. So as a part of the program, I had the opportunity to work with three different mentors from three different departments in my first three semesters. And those mentors are all tenure track faculties. So they were pretty supportive and helpful, and we actually meet on a regular basis every week. So they actually came to my class and observed my teaching and provided me with very good feedbacks. And also, I was invited to observe their teaching and also learn how to become a good teacher as well. I think it's a pretty wonderful, mentor program that really helped me in the first year, especially. And now I'm in my third year. I have more teachings, and also I have more classes and more advisees, and also I serve more on more committees. So it's a lot. It has been challenging, become more and more challenging. I would say become a faculty member, it is more challenging than the PhD students, because there are so many things you have to manage, you have to coordinate. There are so many things on your plate. But however, I would say it is rewarding, when you see students grow in your classes, and also you see research really have a good, like, positive impact to local communities. That's for the first question. Do you want the answer to the second one as well, altogether?
I think from a time standpoint,
Okay.
maybe we can move on.
Just
And we can listen to more of your research in the next part. Thank you.
Yeah, that's all. Thank you.
I'll go next. I felt really fortunate. I felt very, very prepared for my PhD program, and then stepping into the role as faculty member at SUNY Brockport. Also, give credit to the SUNY Brockport team. It's a very familial, collaborative environment. I was also placed with a mentor within the discipline and outside the discipline, and then had to get some training in, induction for junior faculty members, which lasted the entire first year. And so, I felt incredibly prepared, incredibly supported, and I couldn't have asked for a better experience. I will say too, I agree that, maybe the biggest struggle would be trying to establish that routine with the research, whereas teaching is predominantly, what I do here, and service, there's plenty of service opportunities. And so trying to jump in and find my place within the research at the institution has been the biggest struggle, but everything else has been fantastic.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things, sort of jumping off what Lauren said, is that, you don't really realize how much you're protected as a doctoral student, right? And then all of a sudden you start looking at your calendar and go, oh, wow, there's a lot of meetings that now I'm required to be in that I didn't have to do as a doctoral student. And so, all of a sudden the calendar starts getting filled up. But, at the end of the day, I think being able to ask questions and being able to get to know people and sort of get a feel for how people are and what the culture is and what priorities are, and just not being afraid to ask questions, at least for me, helped out tremendously early on, to help navigate that role of from PhD student to faculty, where there is that freedom and flexibility for you to operate on your own a bit more.
Thanks for sharing. So from 4 panelists, we can hear that they also have, positive and sometimes like challenging experiences of transitioning from a PhD student to a faculty member. So now moving on to our next slide, each panelist will cover research, teaching, and service with more details. So I will now turn it over to Dr. Liu.
Hey, so this one, regarding my research, my major thing is actually expanded from my dissertation. So my current research interests are in preparing effective and digitally competent physical educators through teacher preparation for assessment literacy, computational thinking, and AI literacy. So assessment literacy is my primary research line. And ever since I started my current position at Georgia State University, just fit into this context, and also because of the resources I have. So I have the fortunate to extend my research line into another one by integrating computing education into physical education, teacher education. So now I did most of the research in AI literacy and also computational thinking. So that's actually goes to my second point in how to establish research line. First, I would say just pick back to Lauren's point, PhD program really prepared me well with all the research things. I have the independent skills, to explore different research topics and really use all the, my knowledge and experience with different methodologies to do all the research. So definitely it's expanded from my dissertation topic. At that time point, my dissertation mainly focused on preparing pre-service PE teachers for doing health-related fitness testing, and now it's expanded from assessment literacy. It's a wider or upper level concept of that. And the second point is that, as I mentioned, I have to, or everyone needs to fit within the institution. When I have the job interview, they will ask me, oh, how will you do your research in this institution? What is your goal and how can you utilize the resources? And also your collaboration with the colleagues here in the department and in the college level. So that's why I have the second line developed and well established during my first year at Georgia State regarding integrating computing education, especially on computational thinking and AI literacy, and also especially because of the increasing attention on AI and the use of generative AI. So there's a need of preparing future PE teachers for that, how to effectively and responsibly use AI. That's very critical. And my third point is that I teach different courses, especially assessment courses. I'm still talking about the research line. It's because teaching informs research. So I taught different classes in assessment, teaching methods class, curriculum development. So always when during the conversation with your students, what their needs and what are some issues, challenges out there, and I want to see how can my research address those problems or issues. So that's the strategy as well. So I always collect the data from my research, from my teaching, and my students as well. And the collaboration is important. The collaboration with colleagues across disciplines can spark new ideas. So I collaborate with faculty members from learning technologies and also computer science, so they can offer their insights from their discipline to really enrich the topic in our field. And also, of course, passion and independence. I really like it. I want to get into more with it. I want to explore more. So that's how it motivated me to, just expand my research line. And regarding the challenges and opportunities, so first opportunities, of course, we have, at Georgia State, we have a lot of internal grants, university level, college level, and also department level. So there are a lot of resources and funding support out there to really help me as a junior faculty in the early career to really establish my research line. And another very important thing is I feel like I'm very well protected from the service side. They don't want us to involve or spend too much time providing service. So I feel like until right now, I don't take a lot of service role in my department level even, and they want me to really establish my research line. And also because of the faculty fellowship we have the SNAP Center of Computer and Teacher Education in the college level. So since I joined the position, I was selected to be the faculty fellow in the center. So I had a lot of collaborations with the faculty in the center, and also the funding support from them as well. And my department always have extra funding support for my conferences. Usually, if I only rely on the department travel fund, it can only fund one conference. Like, if I go to SHIP, I cannot go to AERA, but now I still have the extra funding support from them, so I can attend both every year. And in the college level, we have the pre-award team, regarding grant application, and post-award team as well. And we also have like college level grant writing professional development. So they really kind of like help us to, seek external funding support. So everyone definitely love external funding, right? And another opportunity I can see is with the professional services. Not only like this, we have, like collaborative community here, and also like, being a manuscript reviewer and, proposal reviewer for conferences. These are also some, provide a way that can extend your perspective regarding what's going on in the research field. And regarding the challenges, I would say for me, I have two kids with 5-year-old and 1-year-old. So navigating the dual demands of motherhood and academia is definitely challenging sometimes. Every time when I have like, oh, I cannot stop writing at this moment, and my son will come in, and then, so really it's some sort of distraction at that time. So I'm still trying to or learn to balance my emotion and also, all the duties, being a faculty member. And my last thing I want to share is regarding the strategies for funding support, especially the external funding support. So I currently just submitted an external grant proposal for National Science Foundation. And that's actually based on what I have listed here. Start with small. So I received 2 mini grants or internal grants from my institution. So all these grants really helped me try to do a lot of pilot study with my projects. And now I have all the outcomes, and I have the evidence or data to show like, oh, I can go to a bigger one. So it's important to build a clear research trajectory to really show you have the capability, or you have a very clear research line for a larger external grant support. And also identify suitable external funding agencies and keep trying. So since the first year I came here, everyone told me, yo, you have to go, you have to try. Every year you have to submit. So that's information I learned. So every year I have to search for, suitable funding agency, and, and then keep writing. And that's a thing. I mean, that's just a life, right? That's the work of, working as a faculty member in the research institution. And also it's important to participate in grant writing, professional development. I think that's one thing I wish to learn more during my PhD study, because at that time I don't have a clear goal saying like, I want to go to a research institution. And now until that, I realized, yeah, I wish I could have more experience with grant writing during PhD study. But now I'm still learning how to write different grants with all the proposal regarding the language, the way how to attract, your funders' attention. That's what I'm learning right now. And also it's important to collaborate across disciplines, especially for those external funding support. They want to see a larger group or team. You can manage different aspects, not only just from your own discipline, but, they want to see you can, collaborate with researchers across disciplines. So again, my team has learning technology faculty, computer science faculty, so we all collaborate on these innovative projects for external funding. And last thing is market it yourself. Otherwise, people don't know who you are and what your interests. So feel free to talk with the people, especially during conference or a college meeting. Even you have the chance to meet all the faculty members. So market it yourself and introduce yourself. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. I totally agree that expanding for one's own dissertation and collaborating across different disciplines are very, very important. Now we will go into another case about research, navigating research with Dr. Shen.
Hi, everyone. Really excited, to be able to share my experience in the area of research. So my research interest is just pedagogy, okay? Pedagogy. So my research interest is about promoting social and emotional learning and health education through physical education, physical activity, and sports using innovative pedagogies in community and the school context. This is my interest. The reason why that's my interest is because I was a soccer player and a soccer coach and also a PE teacher, and really passionate about teaching and coaching. So I would like to explore, different ways to engage kids and to teach kids or students the social and emotional skills that are really necessary, for their long-term life development and also the health knowledge as well. So talking about my research after PhD, so now I have two ongoing research programs, and one of the research programs is funded by the state, agency. So one of the program is about promoting nutrition knowledge through physical activity in regular, PE classes at the local middle school, context. So my college, as mentioned earlier, is located in the southwest part of the Virginia, and the educational resources in our area is pretty limited. And some, not some, but most of the school districts, they do not have health education until high school. So, and also if you look at the obesity rate, the numbers in our area, it is significantly higher than the state and national level. So there is a need for early intervention in area of health education. So what I'm working on is pretty much develop a curriculum grounded in nutrition and deliver that content through physical education classes. So hopefully it will work and the students will have, the knowledge needed to make more informed and healthier dietary choices. And the other one program is about promoting social and emotional learning skills through the sports of soccer. Soccer is my strength. Whenever I, think about the research, I always try to develop the research around my around my strengths, and also try to find opportunities, to do it. So the program is pretty much about understand, the parents in our local areas and how they interpret and prioritize their kids' social and emotional skills, and also think about, how the sports of soccer in a community can promote the students' social and emotional skills that better align with the parents and also the school expectations. So soccer is still pretty new in our area, so it's still growing sports. And the other one program is about integrating nutrition with environmental resilience and sustainability. This is something what I want to try, in the near future. So that is pretty much to understand how, sustainable food systems and the local agriculture practices and food choices can support healthier eating habits, and perhaps, can be really helpful to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions. That's something I want to explore a little bit more, in the near future. That's my research pretty much, after PhD. And some of the opportunities and challenges that I experienced. So some opportunities are pretty common and universal, like college resources, grant office, printing office, and also, the students and also the colleagues who are active researchers right now. They're all really good college resources and also internal grants as well. So also start with small grants and try to build up your reputations and experiences. But however, I want to highlight the other two opportunities. The first is about the community and the school needs. I believe, whenever there is needs, there's opportunity. So, and also when I was a doctoral student, my doctoral advisor, Dr. Ben Dyson, he always encouraged us to go to the school and talk to the teacher and work with the teacher to understand their needs. I think that really benefits me even now in finding new research opportunities. And also the other one opportunity I would recommend is stay in touch with your doctor advisor and colleagues, because you know each other really well, you have that trust, and also, whenever possible, you should look for collaboration opportunities with your advisor and the colleague, and also doctor colleagues, in research. So my challenge, in a simple words, is time, because I'm in a teaching college. So now my teaching load is 5-5. So I teach 5 courses, but typically we have 4-4 teaching load. But I requested to teach another one course, which is soccer. And also I'm on 3 different committees. 2 of those committees are pretty heavy. I'm on the liberal arts core committee and also a search committee for vice chancellor in human resource. And also I have 2 ongoing research programs, and I'm also advising 25 students. If you ever work with advising, it's really time-consuming, work. On top of that, I have 2 kids as well. So I have 2 daughters. Every day they have different things. I need to drive them and stay with them. So, however, time is really a huge challenge. But all the time I try to, find some time for me to take care of myself, and also try to find a large chunk of time, where I can focus on research and writing. Some strategies in the area of research, secured funding, I would recommend is always try to align your research with the local community and school needs. And try to find a grant that will support those needs, and also be more proactive when you need help, when you have questions. You should reach out to the folks in the department or folks in other department or offices, and make the most effective use of the college resources. One example is, I'm working on a nutrition program. One of the tasks is to making nutrition food cards for class activities. There are maybe like more than 400 cards I have to make. So initially, I plan to make those cards and laminate those cards myself. It's a really overwhelming task. And I talk about that with my colleague in our department, who is also an active researcher, and she recommended me to reach out to printing office. And eventually, printing office helped me out, with that printing, task. And also, I learned that they print those tasks with the synthetic papers. That's also amazing, without lamination. And also I promoted my nutrition program in my class as well, in my nutrition class. So I'm teaching nutrition, anatomy, lifestyle wellness, sports governance, and coaching methodologies across multiple, disciplines in kinesiology. So I kind of promote nutrition program in my class, and I successfully recruited, 2 student researchers who are actually helping me in the program. I think it's really mutual benefits. For me, I got more hands, more support, and for students, they got the opportunity to learn and grow. That's pretty much what I want to share. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. I definitely agree that it is very important for us researchers to connect with different stakeholders in community and schools, and it can be a good starting point for research. Thank you. And now moving on, now I will turn it over to Dr. Bean, who will cover navigating teaching.
Yeah, so teaching is is my predominant load here at SUNY Brockport. And so courses that I have taught are elementary physical education methods and elementary activities, which focuses on skill themes and movement concepts. And then I also supervise student teachers who are out doing their practicum, and I really enjoy that. I've taught, these are the only courses I've taught in the last 4 semesters here, so it's very much within my wheelhouse and my expertise. I have decided to take on an overload next semester and kind of expand my horizon a bit and teach a 1-credit academic planning seminar that I'm really excited about. And that's working with freshmen and transfer students who are coming in and learning the resources of the campus and community, as well as helping them find a major if they haven't declared one yet, and help with advising. And so how do I prepare myself for teaching courses outside of my research interests? Again, I haven't had to go outside of my research interest, but I can tell you of things that I definitely would do, and the opportunities that and I'll do this for my academic planning seminar as well. One of the things that is really helpful here is that we have a bank of syllabi. So if there's something that's outside my research area, outside my expertise, I can go back into, we have a shared Teams folder where I can access past courses taught. I also, have sat down with other professors who've taught the courses before, just to kind of get their idea about where they think the direction should be headed, and what worked and what didn't work, and then put my own spin on things, as well as add in content that I believe might be more beneficial. And research is a big one, right? Look at scholarly literature, find the best practices. I really enjoy creating curriculum, and so that's something that I hope to do in the future, as well as professional development. One of these things with the academic planning seminar is that they're providing training over the summer for it, as well as, I can ask other professors about how they've gone about it. They also provide the curriculum, and then I get to put my own spin on how I want to present that to the group. And then, study and then design interactive lessons, and I'll talk a little bit about how I engage students in and on the next slide. We can slide on over to the next one, if you don't mind. All right. And so, what strategies do I use to engage students in my courses? I'm come from a very constructivist approach in which, we all learn as a community together. We learn from each other. We learn from outside resources. And, with phys ed, we spend a lot of time, moving, doing peer teaching, teaching demonstrations that I give to students, as well as, I enjoy having students up and moving around and meeting with different people, doing group work, whether it's small group to larger group and whole group discussions. I really enjoy employing active learning strategies, which I do a lot of times at the beginning of class, to get students, thinking critically, and again, up and moving, which is the big thing. We're phys ed majors, and so we don't like to sit, and I teach a 2-hour-long course. So I try really hard to, not spend too much time with me talking at them, right? And us kind of working as a group, getting them moving, working with different folks within the class, so they're not always, students, they tend to sit in the same spot every class time and work with the same students if they get the choice. And so I try to change that up for them to get different perspectives. We have students doing presentations, as well as we provide experiential learning opportunities where they're going out into to the field doing observation hours, as well as some teaching hours for early field experience. And then last, I enjoy trying out different types of instructional approaches. What works for me, what works with the current students that I'm with, because it changes every semester, the dynamic of how they learn and grow. And so, trying different teaching styles, different approaches, whether it's problem-based learning, inquiry learning, more kind of going with the PE route, guided discovery type of situations. And so that's, something that I feel like I really is my strength, and I enjoy doing that. So thank you.
Thank you. And I also, as an early career scholar who's teaching at SUNY Cortland, I totally agree that, having support from different faculty members and getting different resources that they've already used in their courses, I think that's very, very important. Thank you for sharing. Now we will move on to the next slide, and Dr. Obi will cover navigating service.
Yeah, so I think what's funny about service, right, is when Sun Young sent out the email and I was the last one to respond. And so then I'm the one who gets stuck with service, right? And I think that's what's comical about it, is we kind of view service as that. And she goes, "Do you mind doing service?" I go, "Do I have an option?" And she goes, "No, not really." I go, "Fine, I'll do service. We'll make the most of it." And so, I think sometimes when we think about academia and our three-pronged stool of scholarship, teaching, and service, is that service is that last prong that we think about, or maybe not think about, but be intentional with it. I think sometimes as a young career or a young faculty member, if we aren't intentional about what service we want to do, we tend to get service that maybe we don't want to do or didn't really know what that all entails that we should be doing. And so that's, one thing that I would say with is, and I'll talk a little bit about this on the next slide when we get there, but is the intentionality around what service I want to take on. And once I've learned that, I've become a little bit better in sort of my time and work commitments towards what service. But I really look at service in three sort of bigger, broader categories, which is within the profession, sort of university level, and then also college department and program, depending upon the size of your institution. From a professional standpoint, I really look at it from two categories within that of, an international or national organization, but then as well, emphasizing my role within a state, regional, or local organization. And these can take place over, helping a conference, whether it's reviewing their abstracts or even helping them a day of, whether it's presiding a symposium or, being a point of contact that can be helpful. Again, what's nice is those are you're already there, so it's pretty low end, not too much of a time commitment. A couple things that I've done as well from the university standpoint is I've been fortunate to be on some case study committees with past students of ours or alumni. And then as well as I've reached out to our admissions group. So any incoming student that has interest in being a PE major at SUNY Cortland, they can stop by my class at any time. Again, pretty low end service. I'm teaching the class regardless whether they come or not come. From a college department standpoint, I've been fortunate to be on different committees, whether that's a search committee or a curriculum review committee, and then different one-day workshops. Again, I think as a incoming faculty or a young faculty, those things where you're becoming involved in service, but it really isn't a massive overtime commitment, that it's, it really depends on who's there as well, where you can learn off other people at the same time. If you don't mind going to the next slide, please. Thank you. So in terms of, I took some time to think about I tend to like to bucket these areas or how I go and approach these. And so what I would say is, the first point is find service opportunities that are interesting to you. I very much view myself as an interdisciplinary scholar and an interdisciplinary teacher, and thus my service should reflect an interdisciplinary nature as well to it. My second point around feeling valued and supported is making sure that you're not being put into service just because they need someone to be there to do that, but rather, hey, I will do this and I'll engage in this if this is an opportunity for me to learn. And being really upfront with that, I think is ideal. Which comes to my third point is don't be afraid to ask questions. Ask, well, what does this look like? What does this role entail? What does this, will I have support? Where do I go for questions? What happens if this may occur? And the more knowledgeable you are in those situations, I feel like the service can become more enjoyable and less of a burden. And that gets me to my last point is be extremely direct with time and workload commitments that are required. Once you have a better sense of that, then it's a lot easier to commit to a few of the service things that you have that you can take on board, rather than saying no to a bunch of things or saying yes to a bunch of things, but rather trying to find that happy medium. In terms of what opportunities align with career goals, I think one thing that it's funny, as much as it's cumbersome, but the faculty handbook at your institution can go a long way into knowing what requirements or what is required to be successful at your institution. I think sometimes as young faculty, we tend to overcommit and over-engage ourselves in what we think is required and what we think is good. And oftentimes we overcommit ourselves to what is needed for reappointment or tenure at our institution. And one other point that's in particularly important to me is, which often gets missed with service, is the outreach part. I think a lot of times we stay, and a lot of times because those opportunities are the most accessible, but within our own institutions. But how can we take our knowledge and disseminate those practices to the larger community as well? I give a good quick example here, but is, I've been able to design an after school program that works on social skills through sport for elementary students in a rural area about 20 minutes south of us in Cortland. And, really hitting on that outreach part that is a massive part of what I feel service is as well. Thank you.
Thank you for covering navigating service. And I think it is very important, like as Dr. Obi mentioned, that knowing the expectations for service, like especially before like tenure or reappointment, I think that's very important. And I also agree that thinking about how our service can contribute to the broader community is also very important. Thank you for sharing. Now let's move on to the next slide. And now we have a closing discussion. Now, looking back, is there anything you wish you had known or done differently? And what is the next step or next goal for you as an early career scholar?
No, again, I think I would just jump in. I think I mentioned that a little bit. Like during my PhD, I wish I could have more grant writing experience and also collaboration with different faculty across disciplines regarding grant writing, like because my major role is research and securing external funding is very critical at this point. So although it's not like saying you have to, secure how much money, for your tenure, but they want to see you have the, evidence, you continuously build your evidence regarding securing, external funding. But I, don't have a lot of experience with that. And also because of the traditional context, like we don't have a lot of funding resources for physical education pedagogy, for example. So that's why I have to look for, some places that can provide enough funding for the topics that people are interested. So that's why I bring in different ideas into PE to let people buy in, right? And another thing I would say, like, when I was doing my PhD, like every time when I go to conference, I was trying to hide myself. I was like, oh, I don't know how to social with people, and there's so many people around. For example, SHIP, I don't know who to talk with. So most of the time I just stay with my PhD fellow, within my comfortable zone. But I would say like at that point, if I just be a little bit more brave, just talk to with different people like you all, within different programs and build a relationship and networking during conference, that will be, I would say that will definitely make impact in a variety of ways. But now it's still definitely it's not too late, and next week's shape, so cannot wait to see everyone in the shape, and also ERA. And another thing, like regarding next step, for me, definitely get tenured and promoted is the priority. And also, as I cannot agree with Obi at all, regarding be strategic about what do you need, right? Especially regarding the service. And it's always about balancing the time regarding research, teaching, and service. Regardless you're in research institution or teaching institution, it's always these three big mountains. I describe that. But always have your to-do list and your priority. For me, is always research. And the good thing is we're pretty in the department level, everyone is so supportive. So I have the lucky or luck that not have to do manual service for that. And very supportive regarding help you get it tenured. So that's very good. And of course, get secure more external funding, publish more quality publications in peer-reviewed journals. That will be my next step to go. So thank you.
Thank you.
I can go next. Something I wish I would have known and done differently. I would say be mentally prepared. When you were like a PhD students, be mentally prepared. You might be expected to be a journalist rather than a specialist. Okay, and so in other words, you should keep, your master program, doctor program course materials, in a really good place whenever you need it, and you can have that. And the other one thing I wish I would have maybe known earlier is I wish I had started organizing, my materials for pre-tenure at a little bit earlier time. Things such as, like documenting your services and also saving your like students evaluations and peer observations, and also requesting recommendation letters. You do not want to in a position that in the last year you try to find the documents from everywhere, and you will be like overwhelmed and distressed. There's a lot of documents you need to prepare for even for tenure. I mean for tenure as well. So my next goal and step, pretty much, I would like to bring my research, to the next level. Even though I'm in the teaching college, but I'm still interested in research. Being in the teaching college does not mean that you do not need to work on research, because we're doctoral students, we are trained to conduct or trained to do research. So I want to bring my research to the next level and looking for collaborations with folks from other, disciplines and from other, colleges, and aim for like higher levels of grants. That's my maybe next step, a big goal, and try to continue build up my research portfolio and get tenured in the next 3 years. And also because I have an international background, get a green card, permanent residence visa is also my next big goal for not only for me, but also for my family. So, yeah, that's pretty much what I want to share. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll take over next. I guess in hindsight for me, and it's funny because I asked this question a lot of, my professors and my advisors when I was in my PhD program about how to balance, the three pillars, but mainly how to balance the research and the writing with the teaching and service. I have no problem with the teaching and service. I tend to unfortunately overload myself with service because I'm really interested in, in everything that I've been involved in. But, being able to set up a routine of writing, I have the research, I just need to sit down and write it. And so setting up, a weekly or a daily routine to do so. And so that's kind of one of my goals as my next step in my career. But also on top of that, I will answer that next question with being better at saying no. I have folks coming up all the time wanting to collaborate, wanting to have me be on service, and again, as I said earlier, I got myself a little overloaded this year, and so being able to say no and make sure I can balance out the academic stuff with family and personal life and wellness as well. And so that's something that I need to set some firm boundaries for, and that's my next step.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I think for me or what I'd say is, so anytime you're doing a PhD, there's a certain institution that is a doctoral granting institution. Most times, in particularly the pedagogy field, we're probably not going to end up at a similar institution that you got your PhD at. And so when we think about research, when we think about teaching, the Ohio State University is much different than Cortland in its own way, in its own support systems, in its own structure, in its own. I'll give a funny example of my when I went to submit my first IRB at SUNY Cortland, they just said, attach all the documents to an email and send it to someone. What do you mean there's not a portal for IRB? What do you mean I just email one person who then takes a look at it and returns it around in 24 hours, right? Like there's these different quirks that are at different institutions, but I would say for myself is to not have the same productivity that I was having as a doctoral student at OSU in my first couple of years at SUNY Cortland. And I think that was an unfair expectation of me on myself. And so that's what I would say as a early career scholar is it's going to look different, and different's okay. You can still have a very high-end impact It just might be in some different areas that are a bit different than what you had during your PhD. And so, now that I'm moving forward, or I guess within the next 3 years, is continuing to have an impact on the lives of the students that I teach. And I think that's, fundamentally the number one reason why I'm a professor, is because of how big of impact we can have in the position that we are in. And, so continuing to have that, whether it's, collecting data on my students and turning that around as research, whether that's our student evals, that is sort of like, sort of verifies how well we're doing, different metrics that come with that. So that's what I'd say for, continuing on, with just continue to have as big of impact that I can do.
Thank you very much. Moving on to the next slide. Now we will have a Q&A session. So please feel free to unmute yourself, or if you have any questions, you can also drop in the chat. And also our panelists, at some point, they share their own challenges from more experienced scholars. If you have any comment that they can refer to moving forward, feel free to share those as well.
I can ask a question, but I want to make sure that people who are newer can ask questions, because this is for them. I'm just here watching you guys, and it's awesome. So, but do you mind if I ask a question, or does anybody else want to go?
If other people are thinking about their question, if you can go ahead, that'd be great.
So my question is, so some of you have mentioned that, so since I have been a mentor, and I've played around with mentorship quite a bit. Some mentors, and I've had different mentors as well. And when I hear you talking, some mentors have a policy where they're more hands-on, and they're really holding people by their hand kind of thing and making them do things. I like the okay, set up regularly and then slowly easing it off. But what do you guys prefer? Because I can see benefits of having, and just for complete transparency, I see I'm at the School of Professional Studies, and I'm at the third level in the tenure process as far as evaluation. So that being said, I'm seeing in the evaluation process that the errors that people make can be related to poor mentoring. And so that impacts us as mentors. And that's when I'm wondering how hands-on, or what can you suggest to mentors to provide better mentorship? I always think transparency is important, but sometimes I kind of let the person request it versus me pushing mentorship. You know what I mean? So as some of you have had different types of mentorship.
I'll jump in for that. My research line is actually mentorship within phys ed.
Right.
But I will say what helps me the most is it's mentorship's a two-way street, right? It needs to be put on top of the mentee to ask the questions that are needed to make sure they take initiative and aren't afraid to ask those questions, right? Something that I think helped me a lot was my mentor. If something popped up that she realized oh, hey, if there's a deadline or a date for something, be like, do you want help with this? Do you know how to do this? And so she would come in and, ask me questions to make sure that I knew kind of the policies and procedures and deadlines to put syllabi up and have our online course portals ready. But then we also did meet, once a week. And sometimes it would be a meeting where I would come with a question. Sometimes she would come in and just be like, is there anything you need? And so sometimes we would just sit and chat. And so I think also getting to build that relationship with that person, that's not necessarily only academics, but getting to know them personally, build that trust and empathy is a huge piece of mentorship.
Totally. Thank you.
I think that's a really, really good question. And also because I will have my own PhD student and starting the fall, I was like, oh, how, because I just, shifted from a PhD student now faculty member. Now I will be a mentor for like new PhD student. And I feel like I need to take a really big responsibility to, to help the people be successful in the field and help my student to achieve his career, her career goal, right? So I think one important way I will do, like just as Laura mentioned, first build up relationship with the student and have our own like shared goal. What is your goal, right? To understand what your goal and really help student build up towards that, and regular meeting I would say it's very important. So I plan to do at least meet one time twice, like bi-weekly, not although it's like not weekly but bi-weekly. It's very important to stay on top of that and help make sure everything is on the right track. And also step by step, right? If the student just come in, especially she's an international student and everything is different, and give her some time to adapt to the new environment. So I don't plan to, put a lot of, things on the student. Rather than that, I will protect her from a lot of things that what I experienced before, and build up really good, clear boundary between professional mentorship and also like as a, not as a friend or as a very close people, but, I will provide support professionally, but everything you should, deal with that on your own because that's about independency, right? But of course, give her a clear direction, or at least involve her in my research at the beginning, and to let students explore a little bit to see what her passion is about, and also support her to build up during the dissertation stage. So yeah, that's very good question to help me think as well. So thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I want to add in the conversation a little bit because I mentioned our college had a really good mentor program, and I had an opportunity to work with 3 mentors in 3 different semesters. Each semester I have a different mentor. I would say I'm really fortunate. I got pretty good mentor, and they provided me mental support and also instructional support. Every mentor is different. So I had 2 mentors who are really supportive, checking with me on the weekly basis, ask me how I, adapt to the newer environment, and also checking with me about my family. So that's really give me really good mental support. And also I have one faculty from our department. It's pretty, pedagogy oriented, and he actually provided me a lot of good instructional feedbacks. I think all the mentors, they have different, unique, personalities and their expertise. And I mean, if you have ever had a chance to work with different mentors, that would be perfect. And also for me as a mentee, I think most important thing for me is the mentor should be available, and meet on a regular basis, with the mentees. So for example, our college actually doing a really good job. So the mentor program, the director mentor program actually require all the mentors to meet with their mentees on a weekly basis. And also we have small money like fundings that we can go out for dinner every month maybe. And also we have to attend one cultural activity to help me better understand our local cultures. That's really good. And also the other one thing is it has like a feedback system. So the mentor will write comments on my performance, and also I can provide my feedback about the mentor, the mentor program to the director as well. And also the director of the mentor program require the mentor come up with a recommendation letter, so which can be used for pre-tenure pre-tenure promotion. I think that's also helpful process that save us a lot of time when organizing pre-tenure or tenure materials.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we actually have one question in the chat from Emily. Thank you so much for your insights. I'm so encouraged by each of you. My question is, what supports have you observed and experienced that facilitate your inter and cross-disciplinary research, scholarship, as well as teaching and service obligations?
I can take that one to start. Dr. Jones was a former mentor of mine at going back to West Virginia University, so I can hit this one off. Yeah, so it's a good question. Some of the supports that I have found are some of the local conferences or events that get put on at the institution themselves. Like at a larger institution that was more reserved for students, but at SUNY Cortland it tends to be faculty. And so being able to go to some of those things and see what other faculty are doing is pretty cool. Also, some other things are even just going through what they teach and get an understanding of their research interests. I think sometimes we can have pretty similar research interests, but we're just housed in different departments or different colleges. For example, at Cortland, we're a Department of Physical Education, and then there's a Department of Kinesiology. And so serving on different committees and getting to know those other people that are doing pretty cool things. But I wouldn't have necessarily met those other people if I didn't serve on those committees, maybe bigger university or college-wide. So yeah, that would be a couple of things, is just trying to get engaged as much as I can do on those different committees that can then inform future research collaborations.
Thank you. And we have another question. Will this recording be accessible to rewatch? And yes, it will be uploaded on our YouTube channel. And thank you for the great, awesome questions and responses. Dr. Shen, if you can move on to the next slide for me. So wrapping up, I would like to thank the audience and our wonderful panelists who shared their own experiences and insights today. Before letting you go, if you are not a member of ARA and SIG93 yet, please join us. We have an amazing community with scholars and practitioners in the field where a number of constructive discussions are going on. And you can scan this QR code to access our YouTube channel and website. And I should have gave you opportunity to introduce yourself. I mean, for the audience to introduce yourself a little bit, but I was kind of, being chased by the time. So apologies for that. But I will put also contact information in the description on the YouTube channel when I put the recording. So feel free to reach out to our panelists if you have any questions. Thank you for joining us today, and I hope you all have a great weekend. Thank you.